So our feet are going to be hip distance apart, knees bent. And we're gonna make kind of like this Christmas tree shape with our hands on our abdominals. So our middle fingers point down towards our pubic bone and our thumbs face up, or not face up, face towards our belly button. And this is what we call our magic diamond. I'm gonna be referencing a lot. I'm gonna be referencing it a lot this morning. Words are hard. So this magic diamond that's beneath our hands is kind of the energy we're harnessing when we're moving in poses. So the ribs drawing down, our hip points trying to hug in together, and just trying to bring all your energy into that powerhouse. So with our hands here, let's just breathe for a few moments, feeling how the magic diamond expands and contracts. And just notice also what's happening in your back as you breathe. Feeling how it might be pressing into the mat a little bit. Our core is a cylinder that expands in all directions. At least we want it to. So our breath should be going into that back area. Good. And we're going to try to harness all of that together on our exhale. Squeeze the glutes and lift up 2 to 3 inches. So those hips are off the ground, very low hanging area here. And just take a moment here in low bridge to start to turn things on. We should have an engaged core. Our ribs aren't flaring up towards the ceiling. And if you feel this in your knees, you can walk your feet away more, or you can lower your hips down more. And we'll start to pulse. So this pulse is optional. This is an all-level class, so if something becomes too intense, then you don't have to do as much, but we'll start to pulse an inch up and an inch down. And the movement is in the hips and not the ribs. And as we keep pulsing, we'll reach our hands up towards the ceiling and start to stretch our wrists. So pull the right fingers back with our left hands, our right thumb stretching away from the rest of the fingers. So it's kind of like we're making a stop signal to the ceiling. Good, and make sure those glutes are still on. If you don't know if they're on, you should poke your butt cheeks. No one's around. Go ahead and pull the left fingers back. This time, left thumb reaching away from the rest of the fingers. And all the while, you're still trying to push through both of your big toes, making sure your energy isn't falling to the outside of the feet. Good. And then place your hands by your side, stop pulsing. And then lower your upper, middle, and lower back onto the floor. Good. A little bit of heat. We're going to move on to our abdominals now. So we've reset our pelvis. And then bring the hands behind the head. So the abdominals are the next part. So elbows point straight up. And just take a look at your thighs. Make sure they're parallel with each other. You're going to want to keep that. Pretend there's a block between your knees and it's not going to come apart. Take a breath in. And on your exhale, go ahead and lift up off of the shoulder blades. Looking down at that area where your magic diamond was and trying to compress it. Use the left hand if you need to help fill up that space. Your low back shouldn't be lifted off the floor. And then inhale, go ahead and lower down. Exhale, come on up. Harnessing those ribs down. You can maybe straighten your left leg in line with the right thigh. So it's not coming up towards the ceiling. It's at an angle. Inhale, left leg down, lower the shoulders down. Exhale, come on up. This time the right leg straightens. You can point or flex the foot, it just depends on who you are. Right foot comes down, inhale, head comes down. Adding on, exhale, come up. Left leg straightens. We're still harnessing that area down, and we're going to twist from our center to the left. And when you do this, make sure the left shoulder blade doesn't come back onto the mat. So lift up even higher. Inhale, come back to center, left leg down, lower the head. Exhale up, right leg straightens. Twist to the right, just an inch. We don't want that left hip to come off the ground. Inhale, come back to center, lower down. We have one more. Exhale, come up. This is enough to get me heated. Left leg straighten, twist. And then you have the option to slice the right hand to the outside of the left thigh. So you're trying to reach and then maybe push into the outer part of that thigh. Inhale, come back to center and down. Good job. Last one. Exhale up. Right leg straightens, twist. Left hand to the outside, maybe push into it. And then inhale, come back to center, lower down. Pull each knee into your chest. Give yourself a hug. Abdominals should be working right now. This is enough to get me warm, and then I'm like, all right, I'm done for the rest of the day. In your own way, come on up to your hands and knees. So there's two different levels to this. I like to be down in child's pose when I do this, but if you are someone who can't get their butt all the way down to their heels, you're more than welcome to stay up in tabletop. So if you're down here in child's pose, we're going to bring our right elbow down to the ground. If you're in tabletop, you're just going to bring your right hand under you. We're going to bring our left hand behind our head. And on our inhale, open our chest up to the left by pressing down through our right elbow. Good. And then on your exhale, close your chest back off. So if you're in child's pose, really try to sit back towards the heels. Inhale, open up. Good. Exhale, close it off. We're trying to keep the hips level. Two more. Inhale, open up. Feel your rib cage expand. Exhale, close it off. Last one. Inhale, open. And exhale, close it off. Left elbow comes down. Right arm comes behind the head. Inhale, open the chest up to the right. Exhale, close it off. We'll do 3 more of these. I'm going to demonstrate in tabletop. Inhale, open it up. Exhale. 2 more. Exhale. Last one in. And exhale. Good. Bring both hands down. This time we'll actually come into child's pose if you're not there already. Walking the hands out in front of us. If your forehead reaches the mat, great. If not, don't worry about it. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can turn the thumbs to face up, pushing through the outside corner of your pinkies and really trying to pull those ribs away from your thighs or the ground. Last breath. And then inhale, we'll come back into tabletop. And from here, come on up to kneeling. So if you need a blanket of some sort underneath the knees, you're more than welcome to place that under there if that's available to you. If not, don't worry about it. I'm going to show it from this angle. You're going to bring the left leg out to the side in line with your right knee. So it's kind of like a modified warrior two. So the left leg comes out, toes are facing out, hands come to the hips, and you're trying to really push this right glute forward so you start to feel an opening in the right side of this hip. And go ahead and drop your left elbow to your left thigh. Let your left ear drop. And go ahead and reach the right arm over. Should feel like a good opening and the right side of your neck, but also the right side of your body. Two more breaths here. Try to harness that magic diamond in as well. And then on your inhale, use your abdominals that we worked so hard on to come back to center. And then lower your left knee. And then take your right leg out to the side. Good. Again, try to get those hips to kind of face forward. That left glute is pushing forward. Drop your right elbow to your right thigh. Reach the left arm up and over. There it goes. My hip needed to pop. Magic diamond is pulling in. Last breath in. Inhale, come on up. And then in your own way, come on up to standing at the top of your mat. Shake anything out, get a drink if you need to. Move this there. All right. So, feet are together or hip distance apart. On your inhale, arms reach forward and up. And when you do this motion, imagine the ribs staying contained downwards. And then on your exhale, bend the knees, send the hips back, the hands come underneath the shoulders. So I'm in a bent knee forward fold. Inhale, step the right leg back, drop the right knee under the right hip and come on up to half kneel. So in this pose, we're going to take our hands to our pelvis and we're trying to tuck the tailbone downwards, not dramatically, just enough to feel that right glute engage. And try to pull the left foot towards you so you're making this hook motion between both of your legs. And then we'll drop our arms by our sides and roll one shoulder at a time backwards. So we spend a lot of time in a forward motion. We want to try our best during this class to help remove some of that. Good. And then both hands come down towards the mat under the shoulders. Curl the back toes under, step back into high plank. Lower your knees, glutes are on, and slowly lower down towards your mat. Inhale, baby cobra, so my heart lifts a little. My shoulder blades squeeze together. And then pushing away, up and back into downward facing dog. Other side, we're stepping the right foot forward. Try not to lift your hands. Drop the left knee. Come up into half kneel on the other side. Again, try to structure that pelvis to be in the right place. The left glute is on. And roll your shoulders one at a time backwards. Again, making sure that those ribs aren't spilling forward. Good. And then hands come down. This time we step forward towards the front. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, we're going back down. Bend those knees, hands land. Step the left foot back this time. Drop the left knee. Toes have the option to stay curled under, so you can, if that feels great, great. If not, don't worry about it. And then we're going to fist bump ourselves. So take your fist, your thumbs face towards your heart, and take a breath in. And on your exhale, twist an inch or two to the right without anything changing in the lower half of your body. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale to the right. That left glute is pushing forward. Inhale. Exhale, 3. Inhale, center. We're trying to open up that tissue. Exhale to the right. Inhale, come back to center. Hands come down towards the mat. Step back into high plank. Lower your knees. Make sure your head isn't dipping towards the mat, so pull it in line with your spine. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, baby cobra. See if you can use the traction of your mat to try to pull your hands back towards your feet. Push the ground away. Lift up and back into downward facing dog. Other side, step the left foot forward. Drop the right knee, toes can stay curled under. From here, fist bump yourself. Take a breath in. And on your exhale, twist towards the left. Notice if this side feels different. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist. That's way better. Like a blinding light. Exhale, 3. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, hands come down, step towards the front of your mat. Come on up to stand. Shake it out. Whew. I'm warm. This is my workout for today. We're going to start on our first sequence. If you need water, grab water. If not, feet are hip distance apart or together, however your hips feel best. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold in half, bend those knees. We're coming to our fingertips here. So if you need 2 blocks, if they're available to you, you can do that. We're going to step our right leg back, and we're here in a fingertip low lunge. So I'm pushing through all 5 of my right toes, making sure that I don't fall out onto that pinky toe. Good. And then from here, you can lift up. If not, you don't have to. We're going to hover our chest 2 to 3 inches off of our thigh and bring our arms into an airplane by our side. So you start to feel that left leg start to dial up. Good. Last breath. Really hold those ribs in. And then we're going to turn to the right, making our feet parallel on our mat. So I'm facing away from you. I'll turn to face you for the first few. I'm going to take my fingers to my hip crease and send my hips back. And as I start to bend my left knee, and then come back to center, and then bend to the right. And after you get a few of those, and your knees aren't moving over your toes, maybe you bring the hands on the shins or the hands on the thighs. Again, keeping those ribs contained. Good. And then we'll hold it to the left. Really sitting back, pushing those hips back towards the wall behind us. Should feel like most of your weight is in your heels. And then we'll turn back towards the front of our mat. Hands land, step back into high plank and hold. You have the option here to lower to your knees if you so wish. Glutes are on, head is in line, so don't let the neck jut down. Good. Last breath in. And then we're lowering all the way down. Inhale. My hands are going to come wider than my mat. So what that looks like is they're here. And I'm going to come up onto my fingertips. This is called wide Cobra. So my heart lifts a little. My core is engaged. And I'm going to try to squeeze my shoulder blades together and draw my fingers back towards my feet. So there should be a lot happening in the shoulders. Exhale. Last breath in. Good. Hands slide in underneath the shoulders. Keep all of that energy that you've managed in your torso and push up. Slide your knees in for tabletop. Spread the fingers wide. Wrists are under the shoulders. Curl the toes under here too. We're going to move from tabletop to down dog. So I want you to feel the shoulders slide onto your rib cage and then pull the ribs up to meet that. So it's a neutral spine. We're not doing a scary cat. And then we're going to push into our hands, lift our knees off of the mat, and then start to lift our hips, trying to keep that same weight in our hands. Good. And then on your inhale, slowly transition back to tabletop, lowering the knees. If this isn't available to you, you can always do cat-cow, which also feels amazing. Tabletop, lift the hips up, really push and root through the hands, keeping a bend in the knees, coming back. Last one, lift up and back into down dog. And from here, we're going to lift our left leg to the height of our left hip. And look back at those left toes. Make sure all 5 are facing down. That right knee's bent if your hamstring is like, what are you doing? And then we're going to slowly walk our hands back towards that right foot, keeping that right knee bent. I run into my counter every time. Such a small problem to have. If you need to pop up onto your fingertips, you can. Left glute is on, pull those ribs in. Should be shaking here. And then the left foot is going to come next to the right. And slowly you can bear crawl towards the front of the mat. Left hand, right foot, right hand, left foot. And come on up to stand. And we'll do the other side. Shake it out if you need to. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Feel the space in your side bodies as you lift. Exhale, lower. Hands land, knees bend. Step the left leg back. We're on our fingertips for this fingertip lunge. You can stay here or lift your chest off the right thigh. Bring your arms by your side. Harness that magic diamond. And then we're turning to the left for side lunges. So we turn parallel the feet and then move left and right, trying to keep all parts of the foot on the ground, trying to dip that tailbone downwards. The ribs aren't pushing forward. You'll hear me say a lot of cues in this class because they're the tendencies we move towards most. Go ahead and bend the right knee in side lunge and hold. Breathe. And then we're turning towards the front of our mat. Hands land, step back into high plank. Lower the knees if you want. Feel the shoulder blades come down the back. Good. And then lower all of the way. This time our wide cobra is going to be different. Our hands come wide off of that mat. And then we're going to lift our heart a little, let the right shoulder dip in as we look to the left. Come up, left shoulder dips in as we look to the right. And just move back and forth in this. This is just a yummy shoulder stretch. We're not trying to like do push-ups or anything. Good. One more. And bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Push up and bring the knees underneath of you into tabletop. You can make this movement more dynamic by making your cat-cow a cat to down dog, or you can start in neutral and just lift the knees and lift up and back. And when you do this, we're not trying to overwork the hamstrings. We're not trying to walk our hands back towards our feet. This is just a simple movement to keep weight into our hands in down dog instead of that chest sinking towards the thighs. Good. Last one. Hold here in down dog. Have a bounce to your knees. So don't be afraid to like bounce here. And then we're going to lift the right leg up to the height of the right hip. All 5 toes face down. And then we're walking our hands back towards that left foot. Pausing here. The more your left knee bends, the easier your life will be, I promise. Right glute is on. And then the right foot steps next to the left. And then you can crawl in your own way up towards the top of your mat. Come on up. Shake it out. Get a drink if you need to. Hello, everyone. If you joined sometime after the beginning when I said hi, we're moving on to our second sequence. So by now your glutes should definitely feel on. You have more space in the side bodies. We're going to try to create even more. Feet are hip distance or together at the top of your mat. Inhale, arms reach forward. So the act of reaching forward is helping clear the arm and the shoulder socket. That way we can reach them up even higher. And then on our exhale, bending the knees, hands are flat. Inhale, step or jump back into high plank. You can do a full chaturanga, or you can lower the knees and lower down. Inhale, up dog or baby cobra. And then on your exhale, use those low abdominals to lift up and back into downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts to the height of our left hip. Step the left foot forward. Inhale, come up into left foot crescent lunge. So this is like a grown-up version of what we were doing in the beginning of class. Step back, knees off the floor. Woo. Bring your hands to your pelvis, the outside part of our hip bones, and find that tuck. So we want to have only a small curve in our low back. So if that means our back knee bends, so be it. Push through that right big toe. And here we're going to fist bump ourselves. We've done this before. Take a breath in and exhale to the left. Don't let anything change in your lower half. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist towards the left. 2. Inhale, center. Exhale, 3. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, come back to center. Hands come by the sides. And we're going to use the energy from our back foot to push off into airplane, or as you might know it as, warrior 3. So I'm using my left hand to make sure my right hip doesn't open. In doing so, I lose my balance. And then your arms can come back to your side. Remember those ribs, we're trying to harness them in. If this is good enough for you, you can hang out here. Otherwise, you can start to lift the chest, pull the right knee in, left glute turns on. Slowly transition back to airplane. Trying to push through that left big toe. Last one, pull the right knee into the chest. Use all of your core that we worked so hard on. Transition back into airplane. Right toes land. Open up to the right for goddess. So this is a different goddess. If you want, I like to tell my students, if leg day was yesterday, then you can say hi in your goddess. If you want more of a leg burn, you can drop it down lower. And we're going to bring our arms behind our thighs so they're dangling by our side. And just let them bounce. And then we're really going to squeeze them. So squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears. Squeeze them behind your back without your head thrusting forward. And then keep them squeezing as they slide down your back. Squeeze them up. Squeeze them together. Squeeze them as they go down. Last one, squeeze them up. Squeeze them together. Squeeze them as they come down. And then straighten your legs, turn your toes to face forward. Gradually come down into a forward fold with your legs wide. So this probably feels very yummy. Hands come underneath the shoulders. We're just going to do a few cat-cows here. If you feel restricted by your hamstrings, bend your knees. Inhale, heart drops a little. We don't have a lot of movement here. But on our exhale, free up that space in your low back. Let the chin tuck. Good. Go ahead, do 2 more. Exhale. Last one in. Exhale. Inhale. Start to walk your hands back towards the front of your mat. Your toes turn with you. Set those feet up on 2 separate lines. And we're coming into twisted crescent. So the right hand comes underneath the right shoulder in line with that left foot and your right foot. And on your inhale, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Gazes at your left big toe. So we're going to try to take the neck out of it in this pose. Try to pull your ribs away from that inner thigh. And make sure you're not falling into the outer edge of your pinky toe. Last one. And then on your exhale, left hand comes down, step back, high plank. From here, you can lower your knees or lower all the way down. Our forehead is coming down to the mat. And our arms are coming out to a field goal post. So I'm going to talk upright so you don't get the muffle of my mat. But we're going to do this with our forehead down. If your forehead has to lift, I understand. It's okay. So starting with our abdominals, we're going to try to pull that belly button up into our low back as if it could go there. So that kind of gives you the feeling of an anterior or a posterior tilt. And then we're going to just lift our arms off of the ground. So the forehead is still on the mat, but the backs of our field goal posts are reaching up towards the ceiling. Good. And then the hands come underneath the shoulders, push up and back into down dog. Shake, move things around if you need to. We're going to do the other side. So right leg lifts to the height of the right hip. Step the right foot forward. Inhale, come up into crescent lunge. Establish that your hip points are facing forward, not downward. So find out what that means to you. I know it might feel weird to not have that back leg straight. That's okay. We're trying something new. Fist bump yourself. Take a breath here. And then on your exhale, twist to the right. Ooh, this side's harder for me. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale to the right. So just like we did in our abdominals, come to center, we're only moving a little in our twist. We want the power to be generated from our center. Exhale, 4, not from our limbs. Inhale, come back. Take a breath in. And then exhale, arms come by the side, push off the back leg, coming into airplane. Notice if the side is different. Our bodies are filled with asymmetry sometimes. You can stay and hang out here in airplane with me. Or if you'd like, you can start to transition up, bring the left knee into the chest, using the strength of that right glute, really push through the floor. Send it back into airplane. Harness those ribs in, come back up. This side's harder for me too. Send it back. And then the left toes land. We open up to the left into goddess. Make your goddess as deep as you want it to be. Arms come by the side. Jangle them around. Get jiggy with it, whatever. Go ahead and squeeze the shoulders up. Keep that magic diamond in. Squeeze the shoulder blades behind your back. Squeeze them as they fall down. 2 more. Squeeze it up. Squeeze them together. Squeeze them as they fall down. Last time, squeeze them up. Squeeze them together. Squeeze them down. And then find a neutral, straighten your legs, turn the toes forward, bend at the hips, hands come down. Hands are under the shoulders, take a breath in. Cow pose, exhale. Coming into cat, you can also shift weight into your hands and come up onto your toes. Inhale, heels lower, pull the heart forward. Exhale, pull the ribs in, tuck the chin, and maybe shift the weight. Lift up onto the toes. Go ahead, do 2 more. You don't have to come up onto the toes. Good. Last one. Exhale. Inhale, come back down. Walk your hands towards the front. Turn your toes with you and your hips. Hopefully they come along for the ride. Left hand underneath the shoulder. Line everything up. So the left wrist in line with that left foot. Left hand in line with the right foot, perpendicular. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Really lean back into that left shoulder. Gaze is at your right big toe. Maybe let your left ear drop. Harness your ribs away from the inside of your thigh. Last breath. Exhale, right hand comes down. Step back into high plank. Lower your knees if you want. Lower all the way down. We're coming into that locust with our arms in a field goal post. So the legs stay rooted, but this time we're going to make our thumbs face up. Forehead down. Use your abdominals and your glutes. Lift those arms. Maybe start to pulse them up towards the ceiling. Good. Last one. And then hands come down underneath the shoulders. Push yourself up and back and walk your hands back towards your feet, coming into happy squat. So our knees are bent, our chest rests on our thighs here, and our head hangs. And you can grab opposite elbows, maybe grab the backs of your heels. But the important part is that most of our body weight is being taken in by our thighs. Good. And then inhale, come on up at the back of our mat. And with some confidence or attitude, you can walk towards the front of your mat. Just depends on how you're feeling this morning. All right. So my favorite part of this class is we've done 2 sequences and now we're adding them together. Everything is optional. So if I say something and you're like, yeah, no, I'm good, you can not do the add-on. If you want to, go ahead. All right, top of the mat. Ground in through your feet. Take a moment to pause. Are your ribs feeling less flary? Is your head over your shoulders? Where are your shoulders? And we'll begin. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Exhale, send the hips back, bend the knees, come onto the fingertips. We're stepping the right leg back into our fingertip low lunge. Pausing here. You can stick with this level, or you can lift the heart off of the thigh. Arms come by the sides. Even more, you can start to add an arm swing. Right arm reaches forward, left arm reaches back, and then switch. By making our limbs longer, we're adding a stress to our core. Good. And then we're going to let an arm swing carry us to our side lunges to the right. So we're taking that motion, side lunging. Remember, don't let your knees go over your toes, so you should have line of sight of those toes. If you want to add on, you can, as you shift one side, toe tap the other leg. This feels real good on your glute meads. Good. And then bend the left knee. We're in side lunge on our left. Heart might be a little bit up. And slowly turn towards the front of the mat. Step back into tabletop. Lower those knees. This is my favorite thing to do. So in our tabletop, we're going to find that neutral spine, bring the shoulders on the back, pull the ribs up. So feel that. If you want to stick with the cat-cow, you can, or we're stepping our left foot back into plank and then our right foot, and then our left knee in under the hips, then the right knee. So nothing changes in my upper body. Everything is changing in my lower. Good. Last one. Step it back to high plank regardless of where you are. Lower your knees, lower down. We're coming into that wide cobra with the shoulder rolls. So we're on our fingertips and let the right shoulder dip in. Yum, come up. Left shoulder dip in. Yum. Right shoulder and left shoulder. Inhale, come back. Hands come under the shoulders. Push up and back into downward facing dog. From here, our left leg lifts to the height of our left hip. Right knee's bent. We're walking our hands back towards that right foot. I'm bending my knees so I don't kick my counter. And you can hang out here or start to walk your hands up your right leg as you pull your left knee into your chest. Harness it. Left foot lands. Right knee comes up to your chest. So you're gradually starting to walk towards the front of your mat. Right foot lands. Left knee pulls into the chest. And then slowly start to hinge from your hip as your chest lowers, left leg goes back. We're in airplane or warrior 3. Good. From here, left toes land, open up into goddess. This time you can bring your arms out to a hug. Maybe you pulse your goddess. Maybe you start to pulse the back of the arms back. Good. Last breath in, hold. Maybe squeeze the elbows together behind your back. And then we're cartwheeling towards the front of our mat. Pause. We're not moving. Left hand lands under the shoulder. Inhale, open up into twisted crescent here. Find your alignment. Make sure you're not falling to the pinky toe of your left foot. And then you can maybe start to straighten that right leg without rounding your back. So if you start to round your back, bend the right knee. But maybe you start to straighten it, getting a lateral pull right side of that right leg, which is what that means. Last breath in. Exhale, right hand comes down, step in towards the right foot. Happy squat. You can take the legs wider, move back and forth. Whatever you need to do before we move on to our last side, which is our only side. Inhale, come on up to stand. Get a drink if you need it. Inhale, we're moving on. Reach arms forward and up. Exhale, bend in half. Fingertips come down, step the left foot back, pause. Gather your energy, pull the abdominals up. Arms come by the side, or that left hand comes forward, and we're moving back and forth. And notice if the side's harder or easier. Those ribs are staying contained. The head is in line with the spine. Don't let that chin jut downwards. Good. And then we're turning to the left. Side lunges. You can toe tap one at a time, kind of like you're doing a dance move. Or you can keep side lunging. Good. And then the right one bends. Pause. Hands can come down if you want more of a stretch. Really root through the outer edge of that left foot, that straight leg. And then walk your hands towards the front. Step back. Lower your knees into tabletop. We're setting up for that tabletop to plank move, or you can cat-cow or tabletop to down dog. So we're pulling our hands back towards our knees, so that action of them settling onto the ribs. Pull the ribs up a little, and then we're stepping the right leg back this time, and then the left. Right knee comes in, left knee comes in. Right leg back, left leg back, right knee in. Good, 2 more. Push through all of your fingertips. Good, regardless of where you are, step back into high plank. You can lower all the way or lower the knees. Coming into that shoulder stretch, hands come wide. Let the right shoulder dip in, then the left shoulder. Good. And then we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulder blades. Not the shoulder blades, under the shoulders. Push up and back. Right leg lifts. Left knee bends. Walk your hands back towards that left foot. Good. Pause. You can either let your right foot come down first and then pull it up, or you can start to walk your hands up your left leg. Pull your right knee into your chest. Right foot steps down as you step forward. Left knee pulls up. Left foot down, right knee up. And then gradually start to transition into your warrior 3. Good. Right toes land. Turn to the right for goddess. Find that bounce. You can start to pulse. You don't have to pulse. Arms come out to a T and maybe start to pulse them back too. So we've created space in our chest. Now we're going to try to strengthen the backs of our shoulders. Good. Pause. And then cartwheel the hands down. We're coming into twisted crescent at the front of our mat. So right arm comes down. Inhale, left arm opens up. Maybe start to straighten your left leg. Last breath in. And exhale, left hand comes down. Step your back foot in. We're in happy squat. You can maybe walk your fingers forward, get an upper body stretch. Hang out here. We're all going to meet up on our mat in seated. So we're doing a figure 4 stretch. You have the option to do it in seated, or you can lie down on your backs and do it. So I will give that option to you. For me, I'm just going to cross my right ankle on top of my left thigh and then bend my left knee and bring it in. My hands are behind me. I'm just trying to pull my heart upwards towards the middle of my shin area. If you're down on the ground, you can use your hands to help guide your left knee closer to you, and you can use that right elbow to help guide the right knee away from you. So whatever option you're doing. And if your heart rate has increased, this is a time where we start to try to bring more air in to slow it down. Last breath in. And then uncross the right leg from the left and cross the left on top of the right. Make sure that left foot stays flexed. as you start to breathe. Trying to reach that heart upwards if you're in seated. If you're on your back, you can guide that left knee out by using that left elbow. And then gently uncross. If you're in seated, we're all going to come onto our back and roll onto our left side. Pull your knees into your chest as much as you can, but make sure that means your back isn't rounding. So make sure that your hips stay in line with the ribs. And then we make alligator arms out in front of us. Eventually your head can come down. I'm just showing this variation right now while I can. So the right arm is on top. And on my inhale, I'm going to peel open towards the right. And on my exhale, I'm going to close it off. So your head can be down the whole time for this. It's just hard for me to talk when I do that. If this comes at the cost of your right shoulder feeling angry, you can always reach the right arm up to noon instead of straight across the other side of the clock. Last one. Use your inhale to help you open all the way. And we'll hold here. Again, if your right shoulder doesn't come down, reach it above your head. If you want, you can place your left hand on your right ribs and try to use that as a tactile cue on your body to help expand your breath into your hands. Two more breaths. Last one in. Exhale. Go ahead and roll back onto your left side. You can use that right hand to help pull your right knee into your chest, and then your left as we roll onto our right side. Again, try to find the proper alignment of your hips. And then left hand on top of right. Inhale, open up to the left. Exhale, close it off. Three more, just like that. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Head should be moving with it, so it's not looking over towards the right the whole time. Last one, inhale, open and hold. Again, that left arm can go up to noon if it needs to. You can place the right hand on your left ribs as a cue. Last breath. And gradually roll back onto your right side. And then, in your own way, move onto your back. Knees bent. Feet are going to be mat distance apart. Knees kind of caving in towards each other. Place your hands on that magic diamond area. Feel your breath now. You can stay here or gradually move your legs into Shavasana, where we'll be for a few minutes to absorb what we've done in our practice. Palms can be face up away from the body. Just take inventory on how your breath sounds or feels now. Allow your tongue to fall from the roof of your mouth to relax the jaw. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Turning the head left to right. Go ahead and place your left foot flat on the ground, followed by your right. On your inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And then on your exhale, bring both your knees into your chest. Give yourself the hug. You can maybe create some circles, massaging that low back. Moving in the opposite direction. And in your own way, come on up to seated. Bringing the hands to heart center. Closing the eyes if you wish. Lightly pressing the palms together. Feeling the strength and energy that you've harnessed within yourself today. May you use it to carry you through the rest of your day and week. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste. Yay! Thank you all for coming. It was wonderful. If you have comments, you're more than welcome to put them in the chat. If not, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Brittany.
You're welcome.